Oh, it's me. It's DDP Diamond Dallas Page.
This is Rachel Ellering, the Queen of Strong Smile.
I'm Eric Bischoff.
Live events, all right? When the WWE comes on the holiday tour, when they come to Ireland.
Or Davy Boy without hair braids.
As a fan with braids, as his daughter without braids.
And you
Are watching
WrestleSlam.
WrestleSlam.
WrestleSlam. That's a good thing. Bang!
Right, guys, welcome to a brand new episode of WrestleSlam. I'm joined by Liz and Ger, Phil, and Matt for another big episode. It's been a crazy week. As we know, we did a special on the released WWE stars. We've seen a couple of statements prior to that. Nothing from Braun yet, which is interesting. It's probably hit him the most. AEW, we've seen a massive announcement and a new arrival, Andrade. What way is he pronouncing the second name, Phil? El something, is it? El
or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Elizabeth and Ger, we're obviously seeing AEW making big moves. Is that a great signing for them to have Andrade with them?
Definitely. I'm glad that he didn't jump to them straight away, as soon as he was released, that it wasn't like, he's going straight to AEW, which I have a whole other opinion on. You'll be delighted to know. But so I think that I like that they held it out. How much better has his English got?
Very good.
He is so much clearer to understand. So he's been working on that. I think that's amazing. And I would credit a little bit of Charlotte to that as well. I think having more conversations, because obviously her Spanish is coming on as well in case she ever wanted to go anywhere else. But his English started coming on leaps and bounds. And he didn't have to say an awful lot, and he made a huge impact. And as well, I'm thrilled for him, really excited to see where it's going to go. I think he's literally going to raise the game something phenomenal. But my only concern is that he was introduced by Vicky Guerrero, who I stan. I love Vicky, wearing her cougar necklace, and she was very touchy-feely with them. So I'm like, I don't want a poor man's Dolph Ziggler stroke Angel Garza. So I was just kind of like, please, just like, can we just swerve the other way? Let's not. So I'm hoping that she's just giving him a bit of prop, and I'm hoping that's it.
It was interesting because when Vicky did introduce him, I think the crowd didn't really know what was going on because, like, the way Vicky's she really screams, and she's Vicky, she's a legend.
Love her.
Everyone kind of paused, and then he walked out. And people kind of started realizing, shit, she actually said something, and he's actually walking out. You know what I mean? So I think the way the cameras moved into the crowd and you see the reactions was pretty good. He's got really good swagger about him. I think personally he could be one of the biggest stars in the world, and I know Phil agrees with that. Phil, obviously you like him. You've been vocal on Facebook in regards to him. It's time for him to shine out, really, innit?
Yeah, he's very talented. My only worry is, as Liz said there, I just don't want him to become like a cheap Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
And that could easily happen because, like, I'm not going to say Tony Khan is a mark like Dixie Carter, but, like, if it was Dixie Carter, she'd make him like an Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, you're right.
You're just worried about something like that happening to him, but apparently he is fighting Kenny Omega in August still.
That'd be a great match. Matt, obviously, look, we know all about Andrade. Obviously, look, there's rumours at this moment in time that Charlotte Flair could be pregnant. No, I don't really believe it. Probably just, the rumour will doing this thing, like, you know what I mean? But he seems like a big deal. Like, we know what he done in NXT, and obviously he came up to the main roster, and I think he got a good push for the first couple of months. But you think, he can have a big impact in AEW?
Definitely. I mean, he doesn't. He actually has the look of someone that's ready to take over the certain company. I just hope they don't do like this. AEW rarely does this, where they just bring him in, don't really use him as much, or just keep him in the back, and just have him go for this one title run. But I can see him going against Nero definitely for the TNT title. I was delighted that, when he made his debut, he didn't take so much swings at WWE, because that's personally my biggest pet peeve is someone from WWE goes to his new company and kind of gives jabs at that other company that we all know that they were in. So I definitely see him doing well in AEW. I can see him going for a good title run anyway, especially with Vicky Guerrero, who, say what you want to say, she's one of the great managers of wrestling at this moment. Yeah. I'd prefer if they played music and have his name coming up instead of Vicky saying his name, and everyone says, "Oh wait, she said something big. Should we listen?" So definitely happy to see him on AEW for sure.
Definitely. No,
I
Phil.
thought the silence was sorry, Ger. I thought the silence was better. I thought nobody knew what was going on, and then there was like you could hear a pin drop, and like nobody started cheering until he walked out and saw. Do you know what I mean? I thought the silence had more of a, without just another, El Idolo version of his thing,
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what happens.
I liked it. I think, it was confusing because obviously Vicky really is good on the mic, but she's really she's got that real presence with her. And then I think everyone kind of didn't know what was happening, and he just strolled out. And I suppose it didn't make it that much better. Like when you look back, it's one of them videos that people will keep looking back. Do you remember when he made that debut in AEW? And it's one of them videos you'll always kind of recall to. But no, I think it's going to be huge. I really do think it's going to be huge.
I just think that Vicky was there just to give him the Guerrero rub. I don't think she's going to be his manager long term. I think it's more of this is Eddie Guerrero's wife introducing AEW's big, Latino star.
Yeah, that's a good
I don't
call.
think she'll be with him very long if she's with him at all.
Yeah, no, it will be interesting. Hopefully, as I said, hopefully he gets the run he deserves because we all know how good he is. We're going to switch to Impact Wrestling, the first ever 60-minute Iron match on Impact. Josh Alexander and TJP. I obviously, you know what I mean. It was building up quite well for the week. It's a long match to be part of. Myself and Ger had former Ring of Honor champion on us there recently, and he was on about did a whole duration of that match against Jay Lethal. Did you get a chance to see the highlights?
I seen most of it. Yeah, I seen most of it. It looked amazing. Like it would have been amazing live in front of fans. Like it's a shame that these 60-minute Ironman matches aren't getting their or these big style matches aren't going to get fans. I wish they would have held off until the Slammiversary and got that big pop like they deserved. But outstanding. Like it was put together so well because these big Ironman matches you normally get 3 or 4 pinfalls. And it doesn't. When you get pinned or you tap out 2 or 3 times during a match and you still win, like it doesn't help you really. Like I know you come back from but you shouldn't be losing 2 or 3 times or getting pinned 2 or 3 times in a one match. Like so, it was good the way they held up with just one pinfall all the way to the last second till they got the roll up and went on the overtime. It played out so well. Like.
It was well matched, and like we obviously had Matt Taven on with us there recently. I was going to announce it, but then I said I wouldn't. But then I said I would because look, obviously we're dropping videos and stuff. But obviously, we know Matt Taven was in a big match with Jay Lethal, and obviously he talked about the whole. They thought they were like 22 minutes into the match, and there was only 7 minutes gone. Like it's well prepped. Obviously, look, the lads are in physical and peak condition. Like it is a bit. You reckon it's the case we're going to see more of these matches down the road because look, we know they're kind of rare these days. We know Bret Hart was like the last Iron match I can actually remember was probably Bret Hart, which is kind of mad, really.
It's Triple H and Chris Benoit on Raw in 2004.
Yeah, 17 years ago, like.
Kurt Angle and Brock had one, didn't he, as well?
On SmackDown, on SmackDown. But that was 03, I think.
I think the latest one I can.
And there was a 13-minute one in 2005 with Shawn Michaels and Kurt.
There was another one with, of course, John Cena, Randy Orton, and Iron Man match. That was the latest one I can think of.
2009, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Seth and Dolph Ziggler had one a few years ago. Was that 30 minutes?
30 minutes.
That's a time limit, yeah.
Or he went. Seth went 60 on a gauntlet match or something.
Like does the match appeal to you? Like so like during Elizabeth, like would you like if we had a WrestleMania and an Iron match, would it really appeal to the audience?
WrestleMania, I don't know because it's too long.
Yeah.
It would, but it would have to be like what the guys plan over in Impact, TJP and Josh Alexander. For anybody, no matter what brand they are, affiliation, where they're located in the world, that was an education, that was a clinic and a schooling. It was, as Jerry said, it was a very well structured match, and very respectful of each other as well. But that was unbelievable. And I'd imagine, as Jerry said, if that was live, you would have full engagement. I'd hate to see them too often. Now, that's it. If you knew one was coming up on Mania, you'd kind of be ready for it, but I'd be worried that people will use it as a piss break. Not a piss break, but they'll be like, that'll be the one that they'll go in and out on because it's still going on. But really, really liked the Impact one, and I think it was job well done from both of them for sure. But the build in particular, and the conference call that Jerry was on during the week as well. It was so good, so good, and Gail Kim did a brilliant job of bigging it up as well. So yeah, massive shout out for her.
Massive.
Alexander is rumored to go on a 2-year title reign. I just saw it there yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah. Good call, Phil. Do you reckon that's the right way to have it?
He's probably the most underrated guy out there.
Yeah, I agree.
D'Lo Brown compared him to Kurt Angle. He says he thinks he's this generation's Kurt Angle. Like,
yeah, he's very good. Yeah.
Yeah, and Impact are on the up, as we know. Like, Impact are really on the up, as we know.
It's sad because what was their latest viewership was 200,000 viewers.
Yeah. Like, they're small budget, so Impact, obviously they have a budget, but they're really working with a budget, where AEW and WWE can do whatever they want, really, you know what I mean? But I think Impact's on the mend. They really are rebuilding that brand nicely. It'd be nice if they brought back TNA, the whole TNA part of it as well, maybe.
Something's going to happen at the next Slammiversary.
They need a big TV deal. They need a big network channel, cable channel.
Hopefully they get it. You know what I mean?
Ideally, at the end of Slammiversary, you'd have Samoa Joe come out to try and get the belt back.
I hope so.
That would be what I'd want.
I always kind of thought that Impact was the one wrestling show at the moment that actually would have a bit more freedom, as in they're not trying to impress anyone. They're not trying to do anything like AEW.
That's why it's good. That's why it's exactly. And I said before, whenever I watch an episode of Impact, it feels like, it doesn't feel like, remember last week or months before this happened. It's like a new take. So definitely Impact is definitely getting up there.
Agree 100%. SmackDown, lads. Obviously, look, it was last night. It was interesting. Obviously, look, Reigns. Probably the first episode, because we know there was a lot of release superstars kind of early in the week. But I was trying to observe things and kind of gather things. And I know Liv Morgan had a match. You could see she was clearly upset. I think Liv Morgan, she's obviously a bit upset now. She didn't really show up much in the match, but SmackDown was interesting. Obviously, look, Reigns kind of started off the show, the whole Usos thing, tag team belts. We know Bray and Dominic, they actually ended up defeating the Usos in the end. Interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of talk of Rollins and Cesaro. We know Carmella did defeat Liv Morgan. Bianca Belair obviously making statements. She challenged Bayley to a match in Hell in a Cell, which is pretty interesting. Corbin is still floating about. Obviously, beat Nakamura. Kevin Owens, obviously, he fought Apollo Crews. Not a bad feud. I'm not gonna. Do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna kind of, dish it really, because look, it's a decent feud. But what's your take on SmackDown, Phil? It's probably fair to say it was probably one of the fewer watched SmackDowns in recent weeks.
From that past SmackDown, it looks like they're building a 6-man tag at the show. I really hope they don't do this all gold on the line nonsense 6-man tag.
I never liked 6-man tags.
Yeah, but all the belts will be on the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but where's the excitement of that? You know what I mean? Because you have a guy that had you have a tag team that have all the belts, and then they have to defend the belts. So it's you know what I mean? It's. I just prefer different tag teams having belts. You know what I mean? But I see where they are going with it. To be honest,
it wouldn't surprise me if they put it inside the set as well, just to add more to it.
Drama and stuff. Yeah. Geez, they're really trying to sink it. Jordan Elizabeth, what's your take on everything with SmackDown? Obviously, look, they probably lost a lot of viewers this week because of what happened with the releases and stuff, but it did seem flattish, maybe.
Yeah. Do you want to go? Because I have a couple of opinions.
I'll go first because I didn't see most of it. So, but from what I did see, it's the same old stuff with SmackDown. And SmackDown's a good show, but if it wasn't for Roman Reigns, they would have nothing. Yeah. They don't have another star. Seth Rollins is. I don't know what they're doing with Seth Rollins and Cesaro thing. I don't know. There's talk of Seth going face, but this is not going to be the way they're going to turn Seth face. It's pointless. And I feel sorry, when they released Aleister Black, they said they had no future. They didn't have any plans after, for this feud. They didn't know what to do with it. That's not going to do anything for Big E, because everybody's hyping up Big E, having this big singles push, putting the brand behind him and giving him he should be challenging Roman Reigns for the title at this stage.
Agreed.
When they split up the do so or fucking New Day, and now he's nowhere. He hasn't been on the show in 2 or 3 weeks. His feud with Aleister Black was cut because they didn't know what they were going to do with it. That doesn't do anything for Big E at all. Like, at all. I can see him going back, and they're going to reform the New Day when the crowds are back. That first SmackDown, I guarantee the New Day will be back together. As a three-man unit, not just a tag team.
If not, it'll be at the Money in the Bank in a backstage segment.
Yeah. They don't know what to do. Like, Big E should be challenging at this stage of his career. Like, they should have just built him up. If they're going to build him up, he needs to go heel and needs to go on the Raw, because there's too many heels on SmackDown as it is. So let him join the New Day in Raw and turn on them halfway through a match, take them both out, destroy them, be a monster fucking heel, and have him feud with Drew McIntyre, have him feud with Sheamus, have him feud with fucking Bobby Lashley. Like, make him a monster. He should be a monster. He'll get over, and 6 months after he turns, he'll be a big face, and he'll be the biggest face in the company.
Yeah, he's huge. He's so underrated as well. Like, his promos are incredible. Like, he's New Day presence. He's been around a long time. Like, we think he was in the back when Dolph Ziggler was shining. Like, you know what I mean? Madness. He's been around so fucking long.
Nearly 10 years.
Yeah, it's mad. It is a bit. What's your take? I know you have a few opinions on this one. It's mad, isn't it? What's going on? Really?
I thought it'd be mad now if I didn't have a few opinions. So here we go. So first and foremost, I echo everything that Jerry says about Big E. He's last now with Aleister Black, so I won't repeat what Jerry said. SmackDown peaks and troughs. Take out the Usos and Roman Reigns, a love triangle movie. I don't know what's going on. Plus, I'm glad Apollo got a really, really heel win. Delighted. It was sneaky. It was thought out. Brilliant. Build him as an absolute shithead. I love it. Good old tricks, old school tricks of baiting him up before the match because he's not allowed to. Brilliant. That's great. That's what I want to see in my heels. Why are you making me root for Bianca Belair? She has fuck all to prove to me. She's supposed to be the baddest, the roughest, the toughest. Why am I hearing about her college things and I'm just so happy to be here, Rhea Ripley shit? I don't need to hear it. Why are you trying to convince me that she needs to be the champion? I fucking hate this champion run for Bianca. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. She's looking like a placeholder championship and Bayley is flourishing. And I don't want to like what's happening with Bayley. I don't. Why? Because we want Bianca as our champion. Here she's your champion. Now we're going to piss all over her. So super fucking fuming over that. Which leads me to my last point. Now, my last point. Why is Carmella and Liv Morgan having a fucking who's the most beautiful match? Have I stepped into a fucking time machine and gone back 15 years? Why are we wondering who's going to win a match of who's the most fucking beautiful? Are you actually pulling my left tit? Are you serious? I am disgusted with them. You just know it's two dirty middle-aged men making these fucking decisions. I'm disgusted. Who's the most beautiful? Her tag team partner got lifted out of the company a few days earlier, and you're going to put her in that absolute shit show. I don't give a fuck if you're building up Carmella. Give Liv a week and tell her come back. And for someone who's so quirky, so unique, and so underrated, to put her in a who's the most beautiful match, what the fuck do you think is watching your product? Do you know what? You don't know what the fuck is watching your product, because that's not what I want to see on my TV. I'm done.
Just go on about Liv there for a second.
Love it.
I'm glad they don't have a hangover.
Just speaking of Liv there for a second. There's a 30-minute documentary that it's only 30 minutes long that showcased her career more than her 8 years she's been there or whatever.
Yeah.
We actually met Liv. We met Liv over it. I think me and Phil met her over in Access, and she was lovely. Did you ever come across Liv Morgan, Ger, and Elizabeth when you were over at Mania? She was there then, was she?
No.
They were in NXT at that stage.
Yeah.
She wasn't even Liv Morgan back then. She was somebody.
Oh yeah.
Very cool lady, and she was really she really loves the fans and stuff. Like, I just hope that they she's actually a good wrestler. Like, that's the fucking thing. Like, I think she's actually. Carmella's obviously good in her way as well, but I think Liv Morgan could really be
just staying on that documentary, what's the difference between that and the TV show? Like, who's approving what? Because there's a major difference in what goes out on the network and what goes out.
It's favoritism. Like, there's a lot of shit there. Like, there's a lot of fucking
it is.
Tom, Dicks and Harry's there. Like, you know what I mean?
But is it more like, is there anything dodgy? And if Vince says no, then he says, okay, Grant.
I think
Didn't watch it.
I think there's people in the company that Vince doesn't even question, to be honest.
I don't think Vince and Pritchard and all them. I don't think they even watch them documentaries. I think they're just made by a
They
team
just
who
push
go
out
through
shit, you know what I
documentaries.
mean?
They're a curse.
Okay.
Those documentaries are a curse.
Yeah.
I fear when a documentary comes out for somebody. You saw what Keith Lee said during the week. I'll explain it all in a video sometime in my own words. We had a documentary on him. We did. I'm fearful for Liv. It's a curse. Do you know? All of a sudden they're just gone, or they're like shot down the ladder, and you're just
It's a joke.
But the
Anyway.
problem is all these guys can't keep going to AEW.
I know.
I
They
personally-
will be spread out. Like Matt, like what's your take on all this stuff? Like we've opened up a kind of worms here. Look, there's obviously a lot of cracks that the fans are starting to see. But like Liz is on ball and she's on point exactly what she says. Do you know what I mean? They really are all over the shop. And it looks now like that SmackDown could be on a bad little run with the weeks ahead. Jura said if they didn't have Roman, they'd be in big trouble. I agree. Liv Morgan has just seen her best friend being released from a contract. They have her in this match. And obviously, look, it's crazy. What's your take on it?
I think WWE in general is in trouble. Like I was going to mention about the documentaries I personally enjoy the documentaries, but if they're making a documentary about someone in WWE that you're not really using, the fans are going to watch this documentary. They'll look at this particular wrestler a different way and be like, this person worked their ass off. Give them notice, but you're doing nothing with them.
Yeah.
Especially with SmackDown. Like you said, if Roman Reigns wasn't there, it wouldn't be as watchable. Like I prefer SmackDown more than Raw, because I feel like slowly WWE is going down, and we said this before, WWE just needs to get that moment. They need to have this one moment, this huge star to make people watch and be invested with WWE again. Like I know we said John Cena, if he's coming back, maybe that will have people glue their eyes on. Brock Lesnar's in rumors to come back to WWE, which will be kind of shitty, bringing back Brock Lesnar after a release of so many wrestlers in your company. That's just what I just think. Like I hear what you're saying, and with the documentaries making it best and worse for the wrestlers, fans want what they want. WWE said no, we're doing this storyline. Be happy out. I just feel like Vince really needs to know what the fuck is going on. He needs to stop one day, stop doing all of his work, watch everything else, and then he'll get a better idea. But if not, I don't know where WWE is going to go within the next month. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, it looks that Brock is coming back because look, obviously the aluminium went back on the website. Like, but I think the part that kind of catches me is, as I said, they pay Brock Lesnar a salary of whatever, and then you have to let 4 or 5 names go that are constantly working their fucking asses off for years. I don't mean just for a year. Like they say they let Braun go, Keith Lee go. You know what I mean? Liv Morgan goes. There's names gone, and then they leave all these people go just to bring in a name. Now, don't get me wrong, he brings ratings, and I'm not tagging him Brock Lesnar. Look, Brock, I've always liked Brock Lesnar, but like we know, he kind of comes and goes. It's tricky, like you know what I mean. Like Goldberg might get a $2 million payout, and then you have someone on a salary for $500,000. I'd always work the longer term. Like I'd rather keep 4 people on the books rather than just bring someone in and then it's mad. I don't know. I think they're in serious trouble. You don't know what to expect because look, next week we could see breaking news on Sky News or even on the wrestling platforms that look, Vince has sold the company or something. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's very dodgy times ahead, which is interesting.
What's funny just there now while we're talking? I think now is the time for Dynamite to be on Monday nights.
100%.
Oh, I love it.
Absolutely.
I do love it.
They would destroy Raw.
They need to be disgraced. It's terrible, and people might see it as a shitty move, but they need to be taken into the front room, the whole slapped off them, and brought out in front of everybody. That's what Raw needs, and AEW can do that. They can, and you're bang on, Liv. You are bang on.
They did a year for Impact. I thought it was a disaster.
Yeah. Put AEW on Monday and put Impact on Friday.
Because I do recall AEW just want to do just a wrestling show. They don't want to compete with WWE, and we're never going to have another Monday Night War. But if Dynamite comes on Monday, I think that'll be good because this will show WWE, look, you're doing shite. Everyone's watching AEW, and this should be the wake-up call. Not saying we're going to head to another Monday Night War, but this should, like you said, a wake-up call for WWE. Like, all right, we need to get serious.
AEW will cause Vince a lot of trouble, lads. I think Vince, like obviously, look, we've seen the Monday Night Raw, like, you know, back in the days of WCW and you know, WWF and all that. Like, they almost won the battle, and for a long time, WCW were winning that battle. Do you know what I mean? There was a few things that changed towards the end, but I generally believe AEW can not wipe them out, like, but they could really, really fuck them, like 100%.
What did WWE do? They bought their competition. We can't do that now. You know what I mean? So now we have a proper Monday Night War because you can't buy out your competition.
Yeah, but Tony Khan could buy out WWE.
I know.
He has the money, his family. He could definitely get a couple of people together and buy out the whole. Imagine if they did. Imagine AEW bought WWE.
He meant it.
You'd love to
He was
see
a
it.
secret.
It's actually going to be
partner. Like,
yeah,
it's going to be Tony Khan. It's going to be Tony Khan's dad coming on WWE, and it just says the contract says Khan, I now own WWE, and then we're going to have an invasion angle. So let's not go back there.
Love it.
That would actually be sick, to be honest. Yeah, that would be sick. I'm trying to. What's his dad's name again? Shahid. Shahid. Yeah. Cool. Lads, we have about a minute left. 2 minutes. A good half an hour show. So look, we obviously seen there's a lot happening. Impact was interesting. AEW yet again stealing the headlines. Hell in a Cell, we know Bianca Belair will fight Bayley. There's a lot of stuff on Peacock at the moment. There's 50 greatest tag teams.
Nobody's mentioned Randy Orton's look just before we go. He's a weird new look.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I know he wants to work with Riddle and stuff, but all they're doing is pawning Randy off. But he'll surpass the 16 world titles, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, can we just mention one thing, that Raw keep calling Charlotte Flair a 13 or soon to be 14-time world champion when she's only won 10 and 2 NXT titles.
Yeah.
Pissing me off every week.
Yeah, they always work it. I don't know. I just think everything's up in the air. I don't think anyone knows what's going on, and I think we're on the brink of seeing more releases, to be honest. Because you're not just going to get Braun, and you're not, you know what I mean? They're all gone. It's not going to just be there, like, you know what I mean? It's going to be more. We're seeing a lot of things floating about on the internet like that, you know what I mean? They're showing the roster of Raw and SmackDown, and it's completely wiped out. So, mad to see what's going to happen next week, early next week. It looks like it might happen again. We might get a couple of more releases, which is fucking mental. I have reached out to Murphy, by the way. I sent him our condolences. Obviously, it's tough for him because he's worked hard. You know, we haven't really seen the best of him. I really did like these few with Seth Rollins and the whole, you know, against the Mysterios and stuff. So, lads, we're going to get back to normality. Matt, I know you're busy. Phil, I know you're busy. John Elizabeth, thank you for coming on. You have a big weekend ahead, which is awesome. So we're wishing you all the best. We will see everyone next week. If there's any specials that we need to do, we will holler straight away. Do check out the YouTube page as well for all the stuff. There's loads of interviews up there. We have 2 big interviews this Monday. So do stay tuned for them. They will be out there sometime during the week. We also have Mark Haskins and Matt Taven dropping as well. So lads, thank you as always for checking us out. Check out WrestleSlam on Twitter, Slam Wrestle. We're on Facebook and Instagram. We don't really use the Facebook and Instagrams, although we do post things, you know. So a big thanks to everyone that has tuned in. Have a great week, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Yep, cheers.
Okay.
Bye, guys.